Net zero has become one of the most powerful words in corporate sustainability. Almost every major company now claims it has a net zero target. But today, we're asking a question most sustainability reports quietly avoid. If companies are serious about net zero, why do so many of them ignore Scope 3 emissions, the biggest part of their climate footprint? Because behind bold pledges and glossy dashboards, there's a critical emissions blind spot that changes everything. Welcome back to Sustainability Ventures, where we go beyond climate promises and into climate reality. Today, we're exposing why corporate net zero pledges often leave Scope 3 emissions out, and why that makes many climate commitments dangerously incomplete. In theory, net zero means this. A company reduces its greenhouse gas emissions as close to zero as possible and neutralizes any remaining emissions responsibly. This includes all emissions across the value chain, not just what happens inside company walls. That's why emissions are divided into 3 categories. Scope 1, direct emissions from owned facilities and vehicles. Scope 2, indirect emissions from purchased electricity. Scope 3, everything else, suppliers, logistics, product use, and disposal. Net zero only works if all 3 scopes are addressed. But in practice, Scope 3 is where things get uncomfortable. For most companies, Scope 3 emissions account for 60 to 90% of their total climate impact. They include raw material extraction, manufacturing by suppliers, transportation and shipping, customer use of products, and end-of-life disposal. For oil companies, Scope 3 is emissions from burning fuel. For automakers, it's emissions from driving cars. For tech firms, it's energy used by data centers and devices. In other words, Scope 3 is the climate impact. Ignoring it is like claiming to quit smoking while counting only the cigarettes you personally light. So, why do companies sidestep Scope 3? First, control. Companies don't directly own their suppliers or customers. Second, complexity. Global supply chains span thousands of vendors across dozens of countries. Third, uncertainty. Scope 3 data relies on estimates, assumptions, and imperfect reporting. But the real reason is simpler. Scope 3 makes emissions numbers explode. A company that looks low carbon under Scope 1 and 2 can suddenly look extremely carbon intensive when Scope 3 is included, and that changes the story. Many net zero pledges quietly focus on office buildings, company vehicles, purchased electricity. These are the smallest slices of the emissions pie. Excluding Scope 3 allows companies to claim dramatic percentage reductions, set distant or conditional targets, and avoid confronting core business models. A fossil fuel company can go net zero operationally while continuing to sell fossil fuels. A fast fashion brand can decarbonize stores while overproducing carbon-intensive clothing. The pledge sounds bold. The impact stays limited. Another red flag is how Scope 3 is framed in corporate pledges. You'll often see phrases like, "We aim to engage suppliers," "We are exploring Scope 3 reductions," "We intend to influence customer behavior." Targets subject to data availability. Translation: not now, not fully measurable, not accountable. Some companies push Scope 3 targets to 2040 or 2050 with no near-term milestones. Net zero becomes a future promise, not a present transformation. Here's the truth. You can't reach net zero by ignoring most of your emissions. Scope 3 isn't optional. It isn't a technical footnote. It's the heart of corporate climate responsibility. Until companies confront what they produce, how they source, and how their products are used, net zero will remain a promise, not a solution. If this video helped you see net zero pledges more clearly, like this video, subscribe to Sustainability Ventures, and comment below. Net zero without Scope 3 is not net zero. Because real sustainability isn't about easy targets. It's about facing the emissions we'd rather not count. See you in the next episode.